Hi, my name is Zachary. I'm one of the hosts of Talking Fanciful. I'm an INTP, and in this video, I want to talk about something that Eric has mentioned in previous videos and in a couple of conversations we've had, and that is the hollowness beneath phenomena, the hollowness beneath life's experiences, and even in moments of joy or I suppose moments, events that should usually be characterized as something like joy, there's still a hollowness or an emptiness beneath it. And I want to give my thoughts on the subject, what I think it means, and perhaps my understanding of it could develop someone else's understanding or lead them to their own conclusions. So I've experienced a similar thing, feeling sort of empty, hollow in the past over experiences. I think ultimately it's characterized, or I think ultimately what conveys that feeling of emptiness is the wounded personality. And what I mean by that is that I think it's sort of a call from the unconscious for us to approach it. In certain myths and fairy tales, there's something similar I think is analogous to the feeling of emptiness and hollowness from phenomena, and that is the sort of the king falls ill, and where the king falls ill, where he grows old, and he seeks some sort of object, some sort of talisman or magic to cure him. And but the object always in question is something that's unobtainable, or it's something that not really little is known about it. So it's something that's unreliable, right? And I think the reason it's analogous to the problem of the unconscious is that I think when there are aspects of us that we need to address, or that part of us needs to be developed, the initial reaction to that call from the unconscious is to blame it on the external world, family relationships, your boss, God, things that it's almost like projection, but I don't think that would be considered projection. It's more of like you think there's something missing in the external world. You want your magic talisman basically to come in and cure your emptiness. There's something that you think it will be achieved by seeking things in the external world more. And I think that it's not that I think that achieving things in the external world is bad, because obviously it brings a lot of joy to people, and it's definitely beneficial to progress your material world. But I think that it's important for everyone to develop their personality through engaging with the unconscious. I think that's the root cause of it. And I think the process in which one does it is similar to what Jung identified as the alchemical process. So there were, pre-scientific humans who they tried turning, lead into gold and stuff like that. And they had the processes written down, and it was basically pre-chemistry, right? And they didn't really bring anything to the realm of chemistry, because nothing that they did is something worth carrying over into the scientific realm. I mean, it was before we had a scientific conception, really. We didn't have a concrete understanding of the scientific methods, stuff like that. But Jung, in studying some of the transcripts, and he discovered that it was analogous to what he was identifying as individuation, which is a process of developing the psyche. And I think that you can use that as a framework to sort of work towards developing your own personality and developing your psyche. I think the the goal is to sort of purify the self. I think there's a common belief that having the freedom and power to engage in whatever desires you want is the key to a sort of completion and happiness. But I think that's an illusion. I think that because the external world is a process, and I've touched on this in earlier videos, but because the external world is a process, if you develop yourself using external phenomena as I guess the most influential thing on your development, if it becomes relying on external things such as like family, relationships, your business, anything external is going to be subject to change, and you don't want to build your foundation on something that's subject to change. It's not that it's unimportant to build these things, because it's definitely important to pursue all of those. But I feel that you're not going to meet your ultimate fulfillment of experiencing your ontology, of experiencing being alive, if you are relying on that. And I think it's important to address your foundation, which is the shadow. In the alchemical process, the first step is nigredo, which the alchemists they basically take their materials and they burn them to ash, and they would make everything like dark ash like liquid basically, and just sort of mush all together. And the point of that was to to destroy previous frameworks, destroy previous forms, and bring everything back to a sort of pre-foundation. I think that's analogous to what happens when you address the shadow. It involves becoming aware of aspects of yourself that you may be oblivious or blind to, that you don't really want to face. No one wants to face the negative aspects of themselves. But I think it's important to do this because once you identify those ways in which you express yourself negatively, and that you may just express those things internally as well. It's not necessarily external. But once you identify the processes or the mechanisms that make yourself engage in negative behavior, then you can break down those frameworks and start from a pre-foundation. I think it's important to do that because then you're allowed to enter the next step. You can try to edit the current framework you have and you operate, but I think ultimately it's going to require you to sort of break down what you know and start from a place of, well, I've gone through life and I've had these repeated experiences and it's been bad, and so what is the constant variable? Well, it has to be something to do with the way my framework I'm operating, because it's the only thing that's constant. So the external world is constantly changing. The only thing that's constant is your own way you cognize information, your own framework of behavior. So that's the key to manipulating and achieving some sort of fulfillment or happiness. I think that's definitely the key to doing that. And I think that's the only way toward some sort of fulfillment or purification. I think that it's common to think that engaging in having the power and the freedom to engage in whatever desires you want is going to lead you to fulfillment, because ultimately I think that restrictions lead way to the true enjoyment of freedom. I don't think that true freedom is something to be favored or held to be significant, because there's no objective relational vector by which you can compare your behavior toward. There's no standardized way of living. There's nothing to contextualize what your behavior is like. There's nothing to contextualize what your behavior is accomplishing. That's why I think it's important to Well, it's like, okay, phenomena you experience, events that happen, they're going to affect you. But like I said, the only constant variable is yourself. Uh, because, at least for myself, the introverted nature of engaging with phenomena, my introverted perception is ultimately going to restrict any objective data or any object in the external world from assuming a character beyond being aligned with my subjective interpretation of it. So if I want to get the most out of external phenomena and external objects, then it relies on me to manipulate my own cognition, my own internal frameworks, in order to get the most out of that data. And that's why I think it's important to add restrictions to yourself, sort of discipline your own cognition, your own mind. I think that is something I'm continuously trying to work on. I think one of the things that I'm learning about myself is that I'm extremely indisciplined, and that was something I was rejecting for a long time in my life. Was that I spent so much time trying to escape others' frameworks and restrictions that I didn't realize that I didn't have any myself, and I didn't have any vector of significance to me. I had no way of operating that brought me any fulfillment. So I guess my point in this video is that if you're experiencing some sort of emptiness, stagnation, I suppose dark night of the soul, so to speak, I think it's important to reevaluate yourself, to engage your unconscious and really ask yourself what kind of behavior you're engaging in and what you can do to, what it's resulting in, what are you getting out of your current behavior. And in doing that, I think that's the way to really understand yourself. I think that wraps this video up. Thanks for watching.